Okay, got it. Okay,
Okay,
it's on.
then welcome and welcome again. Okay, then shall I share my screen so we have a common place to look at? We will also share for the audio what we're seeing, as we're not sharing the screen in the video, or in the recording. So I would suggest to exactly continue where we left off last time. I think that was here in this table of obligations for each state per year. So we defined the trial member. This still needs to be defined, but we said there will be a definition for trial member participation expectations. And I think we left off here at exactly this point of work contributions, physical ones for active members. Because here for governance participation, contribution requirements, and meeting attendance, we have it all defined already in this other tab here in participation in community governance. Here, this proposal covers everything in these regards. But what's missing and what shouldn't be there probably is the work contributions. Maybe we need to specify that separately. Maybe it's just a
Okay, let's
simple
get rid of
sentence
this
here.
point. Let's get rid of it right away, because you see how in the other ones it says defined in the definition of participation in community governance. We can put the same thing there.
Yeah, but I wonder if this even belongs there, because it's work contributions. This is participation in governance, community governance. So it makes sense for the meetings. It makes sense for the contributions, because we want them to contribute to governance. And it is basically this governance participation expectation. So I don't know if the physical work should be also in there. I feel like it's something separate, no?
Yeah, I can see. I see. Specified physical.
So maybe it's also not so much. Maybe it's just a few sentences. We can squeeze them in there. Otherwise, if it's something bigger, we can say, okay, we need a specific proposal for work contributions for active members. That's also okay. Then we start a new proposal in the future for that, and we just do it the same way as we did here. We said it will be defined in that specific proposal, and it needs to be defined TBD to be discussed. What do you say? What do you think? What's your feeling for the size of this definition? Is it a few sentences or is it a big thing?
Look, from my feeling, like, I don't think there's going to be any work required, but there could be like scenarios, like for example, maybe like managing volunteers or workers or something like this. So I guess, like, or like maybe like inspecting, seeing how the progress is. So that might have like some physical requirements, right? So I think it's safe to put it in the like to be defined. Well, I think we'll need to talk about this a little bit more.
Okay, good. Let's do it like this. So defined in, let's just copy this part. Defined in active member work contributions, and then to be defined, right?
Yes,
Let's
exactly.
highlight it somehow. Let's highlight this. It becomes maybe too much and not. It maybe it's overseen somehow. Okay, this also. I almost didn't see this. Okay, so this is important that it should, needs to be defined, and I will also add it to the where do we have it here? Further definition ideas. So we will talk about this in the future. I don't know why this is now. Okay, so back to the table. What about exited members? Probably all, pretty much none, no? So there's no governance participation expectations. There should not be meetings, actually. They should be excluded, I guess. You can interrupt me when I'm wrong. Contribution requirements, financial ones, probably also not. Your external meetings, no. Work contributions, no. So I guess that's all
No.
fine, no?
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Let me just ask you, the contributions, they will have like a baseline budgetary contribution for infrastructure maintenance.
But for exited
So
members
yeah, for
and
exited members,
external members, really? Exited members need to pay, continue payment?
if they are owners,
Okay, but no, this is only for exited members, not for owners. I mean, this is only about community members. You remember, it's two different things. You can be a
yeah,
community member or not. You can be exited. You can be applicant. You can be trial member without being an owner or by being an owner. So both can coexist. And we have now only the exited member. We're only looking at that.
perfect. Do you think we can? Is there a place where that is specified? The obligation of an exited member that remains to be an owner.
Yeah, I think we have it here in this transitional thing. So here, transition will automatically transition to exited member without further process. Ownership status remains unchanged and obligated to contribute to budgets and maintain their private lots. This makes it pretty clear, no?
Hey, Rob, welcome.
Welcome, Rob. Good that you could make it.
Thanks. Yeah.
So to catch you up quickly, we're on this table. It's about obligations for each state, so membership states. It's not directly about owners. It's about membership. That's what we were discussing right now. And we just added here in this column in work contributions, we said, or Nick said, that there will be probably more than just one or two sentences to define this. So what is the expectation or the obligation for active members to contribute physically? So this will be done in the future. We will look at this. And now we're here in this row of exited members and external. And this is only for the membership. It's also not for owners. For owners, it's, of course, they need to contribute, for example, in this column here, of course, owners still need to contribute financially in the future as their owners, but this is only about membership state.
Show me the column you mentioned with where the owners still contribute.
Yes.
I'm not seeing it.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Okay.
I have a question for clarity when it comes to obligations. Shouldn't also like owners be a part of that table, but maybe separated out a bit, but for clarity when it comes to obligations?
I agree, because I think that line there, Stefan, you're showing is not, it doesn't make distinctions enough, like, because they will have a baseline budget for infrastructure to contribute to. And I think it would be a good place to put it in that table there for external members that are still owners. We need some sort of definition that to make that clear, that non-member owners have infrastructure, like I have a tax that needs to be explicit.
Okay, what about this? I would not like to mix them, both concepts, because we already mentally separated these two things, no? Like members and owners. But what we could do, what I would propose now, if you agree, we could add here a star and say, if you, like, we can improve the sentence, but basically if you are a owner, you will still need to contribute financially. Something like this, make it clearher. Would you agree with this?
Yeah,
because
maybe specify
because we were, just to explain why I would propose this, because in the very beginning of this table here, we talked about if we should add here the owners as well. but ownership is something like something separate. So we decided after some discussions to not include owners in here. So you can be any of these states being an owner or being a non-owner. That's why we called it an attribute. Like you have it or not, it doesn't depend on the membership state. So that's why I would suggest not adding it here back in again, because that might confuse people more. But to make it really clear, I think it's good to have this sentence there and link it to this line. So let me know what you think.
Can you tell me why in the table there, where on the top it says contribution requirements?
Mhm.
Can you tell me why that wouldn't apply to the external member?
This one? You mean here?
Yeah, that one.
Why they should not contribute financially, external ones that are not owners?
Yeah, not contribute financially to the basic assets infrastructure that is maintained and developed by the community. So like the road, water system, internet, let's say, maintenance of lines.
Yeah.
Nick,
Okay.
but this is like a regardless of whether they are owners or not, and then it's like this is just the state, and like basically anybody could be in this state or this exited member, and they don't have to be an owner. But then if you are an owner, then you are still obligated to contribute to like a community budgets, for example.
Yeah, I would second that.
Sorry, I didn't follow. I didn't understand. Sorry.
Okay, I could
Yeah,
maybe explain it with a little story. So there's one person that comes into Fruithaven, and they're never an owner. So they're just applying. They're a trial member. They're an active member, and at some point they decide to leave. This is what we're discussing here now. This is an exited member, and they will not have to contribute anything to the community anymore, I guess. So another story would be to say, okay, there's this person, they buy land and then they apply to be a member. They are an applicant and they're active member, and then they are exited because at some point they decide they don't want to participate in governance anymore. And they maybe don't live there anymore, and they don't care about how people live culturally and so on. So they would still be an owner, but they would be still also an exited member. And in that case, they would contribute because they're an owner financially to their financial owner obligations. But here in this table, it's only about the membership state, and it would not apply to them anymore. So they wouldn't have to pay anything for being a member. Does it summarize also what you said, Rob? Would you second that?
Yes, second that. But of course, as we develop all this, it could be now. I haven't read through it like now recently and what it says about the owners, but yeah, that should be very clear that being an owner is separate from being a member, and an owner will always have obligation to contribute to community budgets, for example.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Maybe we can add here also exactly this explanation of this separation, because it has led to so many confusions in the past, I guess, from what I heard. And maybe that would be good to make really clear, so that they're not excluded, but also not automatically included in governance decisions internal for the culture, for living there, for how to live there. This is what governance is, no? These are the membership states. This is what active members do. So yeah, if you want, we can add here exactly this. We can try to clarify this here in a sentence. What do you think? Is that what you would like and suggested?
Yeah, because like we don't just have members and active members and exited members. We do have owners also. So this should be just like membership states and roles are defined, they like a table like this basically. Owners have obligations and and uh, um, and rights also, or what you call it, like a whatever, some voting rights or whatever for if they show up, you know. So
Yeah.
that should be defined here also, you know, as a kind of separate track from the
Mhm.
membership states and the roles and stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a good way to see it as a separate track, yeah, or yeah, or as we call it, an attribute. You can have it or you cannot have it. It doesn't matter how. What's your status? State is not status. Yeah. What do you say, Nick? Does it
Are
make
you
sense?
saying that
Do you see the line?
are you saying that you could just add ownership as a state, or what did you say now, the last part?
No, I would not add ownership as a state. I am saying the opposite. It is an attribute. Like, yeah, it'd be independent from the state. You can be an owner or not.
Agree.
Yeah.
Sorry, that first story you used as an example, you have a visitor that comes and becomes a member, you're saying? And so therefore, can you repeat that example story, please?
Yeah, the first one.
Yeah, the first story you gave.
Yeah, so someone comes, is very interested in Fruithaven. They apply to be a member because they want to live there, maybe on renting something without being an owner. And they enjoy it for maybe 2-3 years, and then they say, okay, I want to leave because I want to travel again. I don't know, I'm just making things up. So they would never be an owner, no? So, but they would like to participate in the governance, in contributing how the culture should be, how the agreements should be made within the community, with each other. So they would be an active member, but then exited. So they never have to pay again after they leave. There would be no financial obligation anymore.
Okay, so if I'm following you, you're saying they lived at Fruithaven for 3 years. They were an active member. They contributed to the budgets, right?
I don't know. We haven't decided that. Yeah, we haven't defined that. That will be here, no? This one.
Okay.
If member
All right.
only, none for now, because it hasn't been ever defined anywhere, also not in the bylaws or contracts or anywhere, as far as we said last time. So that's why we said here to be defined. We still need to talk about this if there should be some contributions. But this, if there would be some, then they would not have to pay them anymore when they're exited. No?
Yeah. That's
Okay.
if they're not an owner.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Okay. But if they are an owner, they would have a baseline
Okay.
budget contribution to
Exactly.
still pay. Okay.
Exactly.
So I
will-
just want that to be written somewhere.
Yeah, let's do it. So I'm starting here with AI. Yep. Sorry. Continue.
Can you scroll back to where we were? This about the member. Yes. Here, I think it should. This about the owner yearly budget contribution should not be here, because owner is not a state, and this just belongs in its own table of contribution requirements, governance rights, or whatever, and you know, so their obligations and because, yeah, again, so now we're mixing in owner stuff here in the state, and that will also again then be confusing if we want to truly separate them in separate tracks, so to speak.
Yeah, I agree. But so, like, as a side note here, you still think that's mixing it too much up? Or adding like a paragraph here would mix it too much up?
Yeah, we add another paragraph, another table below this, where we only deal with the kind of quote unquote state of ownership.
Okay. And then how would it would you agree with creating a separate proposal for that? Because probably that's also a lot of things that are coming there, lots of things that are unclear maybe. So we could handle that also as a separate track, because this is about membership states. It's only about the cultural governance of the community,
Yes.
for basically people that want to live there and want to contribute in how to live there, the rules on the land, basically. So this is about
Yeah.
that. And then
Yeah.
we could create another proposal for owners, if you agree.
Absolutely. And this where you put the star and like, owners would still have obligations with regards to community budget, for example. But here you can just say that owners, the obligations of owners will be regulated in that proposal, that separate proposal.
Yes. Yes, that's a good point. Do you agree with everything we said, Nick? Are you?
Yeah. My little parenthesis was on that previous thing to mentioning the financial contributions, but the rest is all good.
Okay. Okay, give me 1 minute to form this paragraph with AI that we can add on the top. And there I will mention that basically the track of, or the, you call the track, I like it, this mental picture. So this track of being an owner will be specified and defined in a different place, and making it clear that there is a separation and it's not an exclusion. You can be both. No? This is what I would like to write.
Yeah. And I have no problems with that being in the same document. Absolutely. It's just that that is a separate thing from the states and the roles and stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Sorry. No. Nick, may I ask a question? Have you had any communication with any of the other guys that hasn't been in these meetings much, or for example, Tim, who was, but then not so much, if they are at all interested in this, or if they are just kind of thinking of it as some bullshit that a few guys are doing and they are not going to support it, or like what's their view on it, if you have any idea?
Tim is in Netherlands right now, so it might be like a time zone difference, or he's not in. He's in Curacao. So yeah, he's doing his something. So he's not present at the community. He did get a little bit annoyed with the membership idea proposal there when he came one time at the meeting. He's like, "Oh, I'm not going to do it," but it was mainly because it was phrased according to the old way of doing it. Like it was like how it's phrased in the bylaws. It's like an honorary title that you have to go through like a consensus thing, and you have to do like all these like courses. So, but the point of it was there was like separation from owner and membership. So phrased by the old style, it was I guess not appealing. So I don't know. He didn't give it a chance. He kind of got a little bit annoyed and left off. I mean, I'm sure if we like have him here and we kind of explain the purpose and like we ask him like, what's up, like where do you what do you have concerns about? He would say it. I don't see an issue.
Yeah, that sounds great. because I mean, of course, I would love if more people also joined in, but there aren't many active people, and some of the active people, they aren't really interested in like a community and consensus, I guess. But it would be cool to hear from as many as possible, of course, in this process.
No, yeah,
Okay,
100% agree with you.
like-
It's
No, sorry. Didn't want
yeah,
to interrupt.
we have to like the one of the words I've been like I was at an earlier meeting earlier, and it was like a vegan climate healer meeting, and the issue is the same thing, right? It's like a world scale issue, and if there's a climate crisis, and how do we get people engaged and introduced? And like one of the words that came up was seducing them into it. So we basically have to be doing what we're doing and presenting it in a nice way, and get them to join in this way.
Yeah, although I think the word seducing might be a bit unfortunate, but I totally get it. Like it's good to like lay down the groundwork and then be able to present it in a very inclusive way, and without kind of alienating anybody, and to to avoid them forming a negative like a stance early on.
Yeah, does the word seduce translate in a negative way to Swedish?
No, but it's like when you seduce someone, it's basically against their will in a way,
No, seduce is not. It could be positive, could be negative, but it's not against their will. It's you get them to want to do it.
Yeah, it's a to me, of course, English is not my native language, but to me, it's kind of I get this feeling like seduce is I mean, this is besides the point here now, but still, it kind of gets the feeling in me of underhanded, a little bit manipulation, to get someone to like something. And I'm not saying it's all negative or wrong all the time, but yeah, never mind.
The negative way of saying it would be coerced, but seduced is positive. Seduced is sort of like you're doing like the I don't know, like a mate is doing like a mating dance, and the female chooses because she likes the dance. Like it's more like it's not a negative. It's not a negative term. Like manipulating them would be negative. Coercion would be negative, but seducing is pretty neutral.
Yeah, could I interrupt there, and we get back to this to the clarification about ownership and membership? Will it be okay for you? Except you see it as very important, what we were talking now. So I wrote this down with the help of AI. So within the community, land ownership and membership are intentionally treated as distinct dimensions. An individual may be a landowner without being a member without owning land, or hold both roles simultaneously. Membership states and their respective rights and responsibilities are defined in this document, while the pathways, obligations, and structures related to land ownership are outlined separately. Both dimensions can coexist with an individual's status determined independently by their ownership state and their membership state. So what do you think, guys? Is it too complex, maybe, or does it hit a nail? How do you feel about it?
Very good. I think this nails it, because it is not too complicated. I mean, if you only read one sentence and become overwhelmed, maybe it will feel complicated, but you need to define these things with clarity for it to be able to be really, really clear. And also this can be duplicated at the very top of the document also, as like the introduction to the document, really.
Okay.
But maybe this is the top of the document, maybe.
Yeah, it is right after defining the states. Here you might
Yeah.
wonder, where's the owner? And then you can read it here, why the owner is not there.
Yes.
That was my intention. But yeah.
Yeah. That's cool.
What do you say, Nick? Do you agree?
Yeah.
Awesome. So let's get back to here. Maybe here, this would be good to add it exactly here below, because that's the transitional membership pathway. It's mentioned here as well. Just unfortunate that it breaks here, but it says see proposal transitional membership pathways for current members. Okay, then I think we're done here now. So we defined that, we made it very clear with the owner membership separation. Let's go here. We went there also last time. So let's see, minimum of 3 months cumulative, someone added here. Need to be defined, yeah, okay. So I guess that still needs to be defined, everything. So we can add here the TDD and make it red. And I'm pretty sure we have that already here in the further definitions ideas. Then we don't have this one here yet. That is like how to transcend from, let me guess quickly. So from not being an applicant to an applicant, from not being a trial member to a trial member, from not being an active member to an active member, from not being, like, how do you exit basically gets here. So how do you transition from being an active member to an exited member? This would be what we want to define here. And also, again, if it's a lot, we can define it in a separate document. My guess is that we will need to do that because that's probably defining an entire pathway. I guess you don't want to say, okay, you're exited and then they're out. So there needs to be at least 2 ways, probably, like a forced one with multiple steps, like a ladder, and one where someone wants to go volunteeringly. And both needs to be defined, how the process is, how these steps are, how this ladder is. I think you want to start with a conversation, then maybe a group conversation, and so on and so forth. So what do you think? We just mentioned this here to be defined, and we defined it in a different document.
This is the trial member, the how to transcend.
How to transcend from an active member to an exited member.
How to, does that include like consequence?
Sorry? Can you explain?
Does it include a consequence? Let's say there was like non-compliance, so like the decision was voted, like the decision to have a certain member be exited, is you vote them out.
Yeah, I guess that needs to be defined. I'm assuming you haven't defined that concretely. That's why I suggested to define all of this in a separate document.
Yeah, I agree. We need to talk about it more in detail, how to go about making an active member an exited member. Whether we vote it, is it a majority vote? Is it a consensus vote? Is it because of non-compliance, non-responsiveness? We have to define all those.
I also have some questions regarding the kind of the structure of this. So in state applicant, but it doesn't say how you become an applicant. So
yeah, it says online form application.
Yeah, but then this is not consistent. It's like you are an. Oops, what happened?
Oh, sorry, I switched. You see this? Sorry, no.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
You are an applicant, and you can transition to trial member, and then the decision or the definitions how to transcend would be to in on that line would be how to transition from applicant to trial member. Like if
No, we did it like this from being exited to applicant, from applicant to trial member here, from trial member to active member, and from active member to exited member.
yeah, but so there is like a people will be confused because it says trial member and possible transitions, full member. You can go to full member, and then it says how to transcend. So this description, like a logically, would be how to transcend from trial member to full member, or you can switch places of these columns, possible transitions, and how to transcend, and instead of naming it how to transcend, then how to become.
Okay, I understand your confusion. Okay.
How to become, yeah.
Yeah, just hear this. No, that's it.
Yeah, but it's still like if someone is following the train of logic, applicant can become a trial member and how to become. And then they might think, okay, how to become a trial member, you know?
No, if you are an applicant, these are your possible transitions. That's how I understand it.
Yeah, but because you created this and you have a thought behind it, you know, so you already know what is the true meaning of this, but someone else will not have that inherit that understanding.
Okay, how would you improve it?
No, I'm not entirely sure. I just see that this can easily be like a source of confusion for someone just reading it. You.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know how to make this even clearer.
Switching places of the two columns, possible transitions, and how to become
Okay.
would definitely help. You know.
Yeah. Okay.
Now
Yeah,
it makes sense.
that helps. Yeah.
Logically. Yeah.
Okay. I get it. Yeah. Good point. Okay, that makes it even clearer.
Yes.
Okay. Here I was just looking. How would we call this? Exit protocol, defined in exit protocol. And I will add it here. So exit protocol for active members. Perfect. Okay, this allows us to continue now. What about this? I want to go quickly there again. Why this is green, I would like to remove that color if we agree on this. So details about trial membership need to be defined, minimum of 3 months. That's somehow contradictory. No, we say here it needs to be defined, but then we define it. Or, I mean, this would make more sense if I take this out and put it here. So this would count already. It would be a minimum of 3 months cumulative, but it needs to be still defined. Is that good for you? If I just remove the color here and we leave it like this? Oh, no, I made it completely black. Guys?
Sorry. Yes. Yeah, looks good for now. I mean, there needs to be more discussions about this and what the like there needs to be an application there too. You know, for example, I suppose. I mean, you have to want to become a member. So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we will define it in this document more in detail.
But so what
Okay.
this applicant, what does that really mean? Like a
Mhm.
so I guess I should just read about the states again a bit more.
Yeah. I mean, here we can go to the states. We defined these states: membership applicants, trial member, active member, exited. You can only be in one state at a time. And
It's simply
here we also
membership
made it, by the way, clear.
applicant, and then you become a trial member.
Exactly.
and
It's like this ladder. You can. That's why we define this here separately. The pathways of that are possible with these transitions. So
Yeah.
you can be
So-
only in one at a time, and you can only be transitioning from an applicant to a trial member.
Yeah. So that's fine. But please write the state the same in all the tables, like it was applicant member. So it should say that here also, member applicant or whatever.
Yeah, membership applicant, I think it was called. Yeah, membership applicant, trial member, active member, exit member. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's the same everywhere. Good point also. Here also membership. Yeah, makes sense. Okay, I think we're actually done then. There's nothing else. This we can take out. We have a document for this now. Reduction of trial membership periods. I will move this. I will take this completely out, and I will move this into here. We need to organize this list again. Maybe it's already there, but I will add it now to be quick. Additional definitions, exactly here. No individual may hold multiple membership states simultaneously. No rights or obligations may exist outside a defined membership state. So we cannot, create rights or obligations that are not aligned with this. And I think that makes also sense. I will move this also up because here we have all these separate explanations about it to organize it a little better. And I think we are done with this membership state proposal. I think it's a pretty good one. We still have, of course, things to discuss that are outside, but as is, my feeling is that it could be, voted on or, given for voting if everyone agrees, and or if anyone objects. Like these are the two ways that we can think about also how we want to deal with this proposals in general. Your current way, as we figured out last time, is like a hybrid between consensus and consent. It doesn't mean it's a bad thing, but we need to think about if that's the right tool we want to use for this type of proposal, or if we want to use only the consent mode or only a consensus way of finding an agreement. So this would be up to discussion as well. What do you think about this, guys?
Yeah, last time Boris showed his draft, the email draft. So the document is pretty comprehensive and full, and looks complete, like it looks dense too. So I think it would be good to have a cover letter to present the ideas written out, and that accompanies this document. I think that's what we need. We need to make it a little bit like the cover letter is what's going to make it seductive and palatable.
Yeah, just two things I would mention to this. I think this with this email, the intention was to give an update on things, no? And we would need another email to send actually the proposal to everyone, right?
Sorry, say that again.
So the intention of this document that I'm showing now, the email proposal, as far as I understood, that the intention of this email was to give an update on our current state of defining, and we would need another email template to send out the actual proposal, right? We shouldn't mix these things.
Okay, I see what you're saying. So in that case, we can make a cover letter giving an update of our progress so far, invite people for further participation, because we're about almost done, right? Like, I mean, it looks like we're done, right? From
Yeah, with the
today.
membership states. Yeah.
Okay, we're done with the membership stage. So then we're moving on to, what was the next point? It was roles.
Yeah, but there are also yeah, like many like to be discussed, and I guess so. This proposal should really be like a presented as like a framework, you know, for continued work and continued definitions and yeah.
I would actually propose it as, or present it as, a clarification of the current state of how things are at the moment, because we haven't invented a lot new. I mean, there are maybe small little details that we added to it, but also just for clarification. No? So it reflects the current state, and that's why, yes, I agree with that word, foundation. So it would be a foundation for further development. This is exactly how I would frame it in an email like that.
Yeah,
Okay,
but when you say current state, you are not referring to like the current state of Fruithaven as it has been for years, because this is still like a very different from that, but like a new kind of organizational framework for clarity and cooperation moving forward, basically, right?
I think it has been like this. So this is all based on the bylaws, the contracts, but not necessarily on how it was lived. Yes, there is a distinction between these two things. But what we're covering now in the membership states is all on how it's actually been, without anything, I mean, on contract level, on what was written down and defined already. Yeah, and now during our conversations, these weeks of conversations, we crystallized out that there was a distinction between these two things. Like there was, like it was lived one way, but it was documented and written down another way. And now we've been defining how we want it actually. So defining how it should be. No? But having in mind what was already there and what we want. No? What you want. I'm excluding that.
Yeah, it makes sense that it is how it is. Like, this is how it is, and the things that we would like to kind of expand on or clarify, they are still to be defined. So some of the things, like, it's basically it's pointing in that direction, like the way things are, they're pointing in the direction that we wanted to take, and we're just kind of rectifying. Look, there's like some, it's been like this, but there's like some things that are missing definitions. They're not entirely clear, so we aim to clarify them.
Yeah, second that. Yeah,
perfect. Yeah, me too. But what's important for sending this proposal out, like the actual proposal, not the update email, but the actual proposal email, is to figure out how you want to vote on that. Like, how do you want to, what process do you want to have behind it for deciding if everything, if it passes or not? This would be very important to clarify. Do you want to go the way that you've been going, like with this hybrid approach? Do you want to use a textbook consensus approach or a textbook consent approach? Like, this should be clear. And I would mention that also in the email, which pathway you use.
We have to stick to the system that we've been already using. We've been using the hybrid consensus method with that includes consent, and we have to stick to that. And then if we want to modify that, that needs to be proposed and agreed upon through consensus.
Through the current approach. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's true. That would be
the consensus method, the hybrid, which is where our consensus is not that everyone has to agree, is that there's agreement, there's a general agreement, and the people that are standing aside or not responding, they're essentially counted as consenting. So consent counts as agreement.
Yeah. Good. Okay.
Yes.
What do you think, Rob?
Yeah, I agree.
Good. Okay, then we need a new email proposal. Would any of you guys like to write it as a homework. Of course, you can use AI. You can use that what Boris wrote here as a template, maybe.
Okay, that's what Boris wrote there.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, we can kind of use that and expand it a little bit, prompt the things that we just mentioned, and I guess on the next, I think we should talk about this email on the next work group or a community meeting.
Yeah, that would
'Cause
be
that-
perfect because we also need to leave in 3 minutes latest.
Okay, perfect.
That would be really good. Good idea. Okay, let's write it down here as a little to do. So next meeting, define email template for actual proposal. Frame as representation, or like as clarified representation of the current documents, right? That's what we said, of the current definitions documents. And what else? Was there something else? I have the feeling there was something else. How it should be framed. Yeah, we should mention the current hybrid approach for decision making. And yeah, we also need to include this other proposal then. This also needs to be finished. And there's only this line here missing. This is the proposal for transitional membership pathway. I think these need to pass either at the same time in the same email or in the same approach, or this one needs to go even first. I'm not sure about this yet. We also need to discuss this next time. So discuss
Yes, agreed. The transitional membership should definitely be passed first, so that people feel safe, that they're not like being kind of sidelined or something in this process. But they are members. If they are owners, they are members, and like we move forward together, and everybody has their rights to. Yeah. And it's
I agree.
And also I think it's very important, like it says here, frame as clarified representation of current definitions. So it's like with what we have now, nothing is actually changing. It's just making it like a really word this in a couple of different ways that says the same thing, so that people have a good chance of truly understanding it. Like this is nothing has changed so far. This is just making it more clear and easy to understand the different
exactly
roles an owner or member can have in the community. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, I'm so sorry, but I need to really leave now. I need to run. Thank you so much for everything. It was a good meeting, good progress. And yeah, we can discuss for the next meeting if there will be one on Sunday in the chat. I would propose, and yeah, we'll see each other there.
All right, I will do my best to join.
Perfect.
Thank you for today. Good meeting.
Bye bye. Thank you too. Yeah. Bye.
Ciao.
Okay, I guess Boris left. I was going to give him a breakdown, but okay. So, yeah, thank you, Rob.
Thank you. Maybe we can have a chat. It's not a good time right now for me to have a chat, but when would work for you?
Let's talk tomorrow.
Yeah, let's try to do it tomorrow.
Awesome.
All right. Have a good day and talk tomorrow.
All right. See you. Peace.
Peace.